Hello, this is teacher Wendy. Over the years, I have come across students who struggle to read notes on the music stave. This affects their playing as they need time to identify the notes and to find the right keys on the keyboard. This video is created to help these students by providing some guidance and tips for them, and in the hope that they will learn to read music notes with ease in time to come. So let's start the lesson today. In the beginning stage of learning, all students start by reading notes in the C position. So this is a picture of the grand stave. The treble stave is represented by the treble clef, and the bass stave represented by the bass clef. Each stave is made up of 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and between the lines, 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you combine the treble and bass stave with a bar line at the beginning and a curved line called brace, we have the grand stave. So in the C position, the first note will be in the treble stave is called middle C. It has a ledger line going through it and is between the treble and bass stave. And also in the middle of the keyboard. That's why it's called middle C. And then it's followed by D in the space above it, followed by the next line E, and then the next space F, and then the next line G. So when music notes move by step, they will move in this way from one line to the next space to the next line. And in the bass, the C is 1 octave lower than middle C, and it's on the second space from below, or if you count from above, it's third space from above. So it's C on a space, D on a line, E on a space, F on a line, G on a space. Take note that when there are 7 music alphabets and then the music alphabet is from A to G. So after G, you go back to A. So when the notes ascend, we read the alphabets forward, C, D, E, F, G. Just like Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol. And we read backwards, we read the alphabet backwards too. When the music descends, we read the alphabet backwards. G, F, E, D, C. And most students will not have much difficulty reading these notes, 5 notes in each hand, each stave. But when the notes range widen, such as above the G or below the C in the bass, then they may have some difficulty. So I'm going to introduce some landmark notes which students should try to remember their position on the stave, and from these notes they will be able to find or read the other notes nearby. So the first 3 landmark notes are middle C, and then and the other one is G on the second line of the treble stave, and F on the second line from the top of the bass stave, 1, 2. So these notes are still in the C position, and notice that F is on the line between the two dots of the bass stave, so it should be very easy to remember. So from these two notes, from these notes, such as from G, you can read the note next to it, such as the note below it, you go backwards G, F, or the note above F will be F, G. And then the next two landmark notes are C in the treble on the third space, 1, 2, 3, and also C in the bass on the third space, 1, 2, 3. Third space from above, 1, 2, 3. So this C is one octave higher than middle C, and this C is one octave lower than middle C, and they look like a mirror image. Okay, the next two landmark notes are G in the top space of the treble clef, treble stave, and F in the lower space of the bass stave. So notice this F and G are on the spaces, whereas this F and G are on lines. So from this, if you can remember or memorize these 7 landmark notes, you'll be able to find other notes nearby, such as if you want to find what is this note, this space note, you can read from this C, C, D, E. Or if you want to find this space note in the bass, you can read from this C backwards, A, B, C, so C, B, A. Or if you read from this F, it's F, G, A. So it ends up with A. The other way that you can learn to identify your notes is by remembering a pattern for space and line notes. So for space notes, if we look from the bass, the first space note, which is F, which is also the landmark note that we look at just now. So let me read out all the space note: F, A, C, E, G, B, D. Right? So if you notice the first group of space note form the word face, and the next group, GBD, the D is in the treble state. The next group is GBD. You can remember it as GBD, or you can make up a sentence through the 3 letters, such as God bless David. Okay, so if you can remember these groups of notes, then it's easy to move on. Okay, then we will go on to the treble. So this is the D. This D is the same D. After D, you go back to face. So you have another face in the treble. And after face, it's back to GBD. Since we are not going further, we will stop at G. So if you look carefully, face starts in the bass, starts at the below the stave face, whereas in the treble face is in the middle 4 spaces. Okay, so if you can memorize this pattern, then you should be able to find any space notes. But do remember the first space note, F in the bass and the D in the treble. so that when you need to find any higher notes, such as you want to find a higher note in the treble, such as you want to find what is this space note, you don't need to go all the way to the lowest F until you reach this A. You can start on the D and then F A. Okay, so remember the D and the F. Now we look at the line notes. So the lowest line note in the bass is G, and so the line notes are G, B, D, F, A, middle C, E. So this E is in the treble stave. And now the pattern is, instead of starting with phase, it's GBD, GBD followed by phase. And then the next one is if we go on to the treble, so we stop at E just now, and then we start on GBD again. GBD phase. So again, GBD, and then you have another GBD. Okay. So we stop at F since we are not going further than this. So remember for line notes, the GBD starts on the first line, and in the treble stave, the GBD start on the second line. But it will help if you also remember the lowest line notes is G, and in the bass is G, in the treble is E. So if you remember the lowest note in each stave, you don't have to find, if you need to find a note in the treble, such as this D, you don't need to read all the way from G in the bass. You can start on E and then G, B, D. So it will be good to remember for line notes, this starts with GBD, whereas for space notes, it starts with phase in the bass. And you can memorize both these patterns for the space and line notes, or if you can just remember the line notes, you are still able to find the space notes. So if, let's say you want to find this space note between D and F, right? You know this is D, so the next letter should be E, so this space should be E. Or you need to find this space note. Okay, from F, go backwards will be E. So this method of finding notes will be useful even in the space notes. If you can memorize only the space notes, you can still find any line notes. Like if you want to find what is this line note between A and C, and then you know this A, so this should be B. Okay. I hope these tips have provided you with some ideas on how to read music notes on the staves. Of course, you have to keep reading and practicing regularly so that the notes become familiar to you, how they look on the staves, and each of their names are memorized and internalized in your mind. Then it will become easy to read and play. Just like reading words or sentences, you don't have to spell out every letter of the word in order to know what is the word or what it means. You, you can even understand a whole sentence by just a glance. This is because you have been reading regularly. Similarly, with music notation, you have to attain this stage of reading where the names of the notes are immediately recognized, and you will find your keys on time and be able to play musically. This is especially important for pianists as you need to read the notes in both staves or on the grand stave at the same time, and you need to identify them quickly, and then it will help in your playing too. I hope you have learned something from this lesson. If you have any questions, do leave it in the comments below and I will reply as soon as possible. So I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.